Hey everybody, Sean from Media Assault here, and it's time once again for another movie review. This time out, it is what is probably the most hyped movie of 2012 so far. I'm sure that'll change once it gets to be summertime, and if the trailers on the movie that I'm going to review tonight are any indication, that will probably change very quickly. But as of now, The Hunger Games is the most hyped movie so far this year, and I went and saw it tonight. Now, before you think that I just bought into the hype and went to see it, well, actually, I did buy into the hype and just go see it, but I read the book first. I've got that right here, since obviously I can't hold up the movie in the theater. So I've read the book before seeing the movie, so my opinion of the movie is a little bit tainted by the fact that I've read the book, but that doesn't really spoil too much because the movie actually stays pretty true to the book. They do take some things out, they do make a few changes, but overall it's pretty close to the book. So if you've read the book and haven't seen the movie, you're not going to be terribly disappointed. At least I wouldn't think so. There are some changes made. I won't say what they are because I don't want to spoil anything, but I think just by the nature of the way the book was written, which is from a first-person perspective, things had to be changed to make it understandable for those people that haven't read the book. So with that out of the way, I'll quickly run down the story and then tell you my thoughts on the film. The thing that I like about The Hunger Games, and the whole reason I read the book and was interested in it in the first place, is the story, which takes place in the future. It takes place in what was formerly known as North America and is now known as a country called Panem, and it was divided up into 13 districts, of which now there are 12. The 13th district was obliterated by the government. The government is headquartered in a place called the Capital, which is sort of a futuristic type city with a lot of wealth and almost profane amounts of wealth are displayed in the capital city. The districts, however, are all sort of kept under the thumb of the capital, and the citizens there appear to be kept in very poor conditions, and things just really aren't too rosy and cheery in the other districts. To prevent future uprisings, the type that got the District 13 destroyed, the capital holds the Hunger Games, which basically is a competition that takes two children between the ages of 12 and 18 from each of the 12 remaining districts, and they're chosen in a lottery type setting called the Reaping. The names are drawn, and the one boy and one girl are taken to the capital, given a small amount of training, and then set loose in an arena where these 24 kids are basically told to fight to the death until there is one remaining child. And that victor is then supposed to mentor future winners or future tributes, kids that are chosen in that district. And the only former winner from District 12 is Hamish Abernathy, played by Woody Harrelson. And he ends up being the mentor to Katniss Everdeen, who is played by Jennifer Lawrence, and Peeta Mellark, who is played by Josh Hutcherson. And those are the two chosen from District 12 to take place in the Hunger Games, the 74th Hunger Games in the Capitol. And those are the Hunger Games of which the movie documents. Katniss is pretty remarkable because she volunteers to be in the games in place of her sister. Her sister's name is drawn to be in this competition. She volunteers to take her place. Peeta is chosen at random to be in the games. And they're taken to the Capitol, given this training, where they learn that the secret to the games and the way the games are played, and the people in the districts already know this, is that each of the competitors gets sponsors, and that's based on how they play to the crowd, and that's very key to winning the game, because the sponsors will give you things in the game that you may need, whether it be food or medicine or water or whatever. And the arenas that these kids fight in are basically artificial constructs. Some years, and I'm taking this from the book, this isn't necessarily in the movie, but you get a hint of it in the movie. Each of the arenas is a different location or different type of location, and in this particular games it's a forest setting, a wooded setting. Katniss is also remarkable because she is a hunter, and because of the poor conditions in her district, she is forced to support her family by going outside the district, by sneaking through this fence and hunting in the woods with her childhood friend Gale. Gale Hawthorne is his name. And for many years they have gone out into the woods and hunted game like squirrel and ducks and stuff like that, rabbits, and brought those home to help feed their family, because the families are basically given small amounts of rations from the government and basically left to fend for themselves. The movie does a really good job, I think, of squishing the book into 2.5 hours. Visually, it's spectacular. The performances from the cast, and the cast is fantastic. All of them are very good, and the cast is also very well chosen for the individual roles. Jennifer Lawrence is great as Katniss. Josh Hutcherson is good as Peeta. Lenny Kravitz is in this film. He plays Cinna, one of the stylists that helps prepare Katniss for her appearances to the public. He's very good. Woody Harrelson is fantastic as Haymitch, the former District 12 winner. He plays sort of you think he's just going to be a drunk and really bitter, but he actually comes across as very caring for Peeta and Katniss, especially Katniss. Liam Hemsworth, who is the brother of Chris Hemsworth, who plays Thor, he's in this as Gale Hawthorne. He's not on screen for a lot, but he does a lot with his face that it's sufficient to get the idea of what he's thinking. Pretty good performance from him. Elizabeth Banks is in this film, and she's rendered almost unrecognizable by the amount of makeup and weird hairstyles and clothes that she has to wear. She plays Effie Trinket, who is sort of the assistant sent by the Capitol to kind of make sure that the District 12 tributes get to where they need to be at all times. And Stanley Tucci is probably the most outstanding member of the cast, as he plays Caesar Flickerman, who is sort of the host of the games, the public face of the games, and he interviews the tributes and kind of puts a positive spin on all of them, tries to make them all look good, because if they don't look good, he doesn't look good. And the movie does a really good job of sort of giving a sort of sly commentary on the whole artifice of the games and how behind the scenes there's a lot more menacing stuff going on than what the public sees, and kind of how the public feeds on the frenzy of the games. I think the movie does a really good job of portraying that. The only thing that I can really criticize this movie for is, and this just might be in my own head just because I read the book and I know there was stuff that was left out, is that it just feels kind of rushed. The ending sort of just arrives very quickly. I don't know if that'll be a problem if you haven't read the book, but reading the book, it just seemed like they blasted through the latter part of this movie very quickly, not stopping to linger over things like they do in the book. And I can't really say that's a heavy criticism because, like I said, I don't know if that really is going to be evident if you haven't read the book, but I really think they did a really good job of translating the book into the movie. So as far as a rating goes, I would give The Hunger Games an 8.5 out of 10. I really do think it's worth seeing. Whether or not it's going to live up to the ridiculous hype, I don't think any movie can live up to that type of hype, which is one of the reasons, like if you just watch the Batman 1989 Batman review that I did yesterday, I was incredibly disappointed by that movie, and I think part of it was because it didn't live up to all the hype and all my expectations for it. I did not have a lot of expectations for the movie. being that it's based on a young adult novel, I thought that it would be kind of watered down and wishy-washy. And it's not. It's still, even though it's not as violent as it could have been, it's certainly no battle royale. I think that it's done very tastefully, and I think that for the subject matter, which is essentially 24 kids being told to fight to the death, it's nowhere near as violent as it could have been, and that's not a bad thing, especially considering the audience that it's aimed at. So definitely check out The Hunger Games in the theaters. I think it's worth making the effort to see it. You definitely won't have a problem finding a showing, especially this weekend or during the coming weeks. So definitely check out The Hunger Games. And if you like this video, feel free to stop by the other videos that I have on this channel. Feel free to rate, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks again for watching, everybody. Take it easy.